Sometimes the scariest things don't happen deep in the woods or in forgotten graveyards, but right in the middle of everyday life, the places that are supposed to feel the safest. Tonight's 3 stories are proof of that, from a harmless game of pool that spirals into obsessive stalking, to the hollow stare of a stranger who knows far too much, and finally the chilling silence left behind by 2 figures no one remembers ever being there. Turn off the lights, put on your headphones, and brace yourself for what's about to crawl under your skin. Story 1. The trail of blood in the snow and the mysterious AirTag breakups are hard. Even when you know they're for the best, they still leave a void that nothing really fills. That night I was trying to fill that void the only way I knew how, by returning to an old comfort. A dimly lit dive bar, worn pool tables, and cheap jukebox music that never changed. It was a Wednesday. Cold, quiet. Too quiet. None of my friends were free, but I went out anyway. I told myself it wasn't about him, my ex, but I was lying. Playing pool was our thing. The rhythm of it, the sound of the cue cracking against the ball, it used to calm me. Remind me I still had control. The bar hadn't changed. Same scuffed floor. Same sour smell of beer soaked into the wood. Same flickering neon sign that buzzed just a little too loud. I slid into the corner like a ghost from the past, grabbed a drink and started chalking a cue. I didn't expect to actually play. That's when he walked in. He looked like he didn't belong there. Mid-20s maybe. Dark hood pulled over greasy hair, pale skin, eyes that didn't blink enough. He glanced around, saw me, and smirked like he knew me. "You up for a game?" I hesitated, but nodded. He racked the balls wrong. I let it slide. We played a few games. I won all of them. Not because I was great, because he was careless. Like his mind was somewhere else. He bought me a drink, and another. We talked, but I couldn't tell you about what. His words were slow, empty, but his eyes never left me. On the 4th game, he leaned in and said, "You want to come back to my place?" I laughed it off. Said you'd need at least a second date for that. But something shifted. His expression collapsed. The smile drained. His eyes went flat. He stared at me with something close to disgust. "Are you serious?" he muttered. And then he grabbed my wrist. Tight. "You drank my money," he hissed. Before I could move, he snatched my purse. I froze. It wasn't even fear, it was like my body forgot how to react. But thankfully, 2 older men at the bar noticed. One shouted. The guy dropped my purse like it was burning him and stormed out. Didn't look back. Just vanished into the night. I thanked the men. My hands were shaking. I left quickly, called an Uber, and climbed into the back seat like a child trying to outrun a nightmare. I must have dozed off during the ride. When I woke up, we were parked across the street from my house. I thanked the driver, got out, and fumbled for my keys. That's when I checked my phone. A notification blinked on the screen. "Unknown AirTag detected traveling with you." I nearly dropped it. I dug through my purse, shaking. Lip balm, phone charger, keys. Then, something small, cold. A white plastic disc. I'd never seen it before. I recognized it instantly. An AirTag. I crushed it under my boot in the street. My breath fogged in the cold air. My vision blurred. Whoever planted it knew where I lived. Maybe not the exact house, but this street. Yeah, it's not hard to figure out. The homes here are spaced apart. You can guess. I ran to the back door, got inside, locked it, then relocked it twice more. But I couldn't calm down. Hours passed. I stood by the upstairs window watching the road. Then I saw it. An old beat-up Lincoln, creeping down the street. Headlights dimmed. It passed. Then 5 minutes later, it came back. Slower. This time it lingered outside my house. The driver's side window rolled down halfway. I ducked below the sill. I was shaking. I knew it was him. The third time it passed, I saw something glint in his hand. A knife. He didn't drive away this time. He stopped, right across from my front door. I didn't scream. I didn't move. I stayed crouched until my legs went numb. When I finally looked again, he was gone. I haven't seen the car since. But every time I walk outside, I feel like someone's watching. Not screaming. Not breaking in. Just watching. And maybe waiting. Story 2. I know who you are. They say you meet all kinds when you work behind a bar. But I've never met someone who knew my name before I ever told him. My name's Kevin. I work as a bartender at a luxury rooftop lounge, marble counters, velvet seats, $40 cocktails, the works. It's the kind of place where people pretend they're better than they are. That Friday night started like any other. Packed house, dim lighting, DJ playing ambient trash in the background. I was 3 deep in orders when I noticed him. The guy. He didn't belong. Black hoodie under a leather jacket stained like it had been dragged through oil. Hair greasy and matted to his head. And those eyes, they weren't looking at anything. They were drilling through it. He didn't sit. He just stood there silent, staring at me. I cleared my throat. "Can I get you something?" He didn't answer right away. Just kept glaring like I'd killed his dog or something. Then he said flatly, "Double shot of Jaeger." Weird choice for this place, but fine. I poured it, set it down, and moved on. Didn't think twice until he tossed some crumpled cash on the bar. I came back to ring him up, and that's when he spoke again. "I knew I'd find you here, Kevin." I stopped. My hands froze over the register. "How do you know my name?" He didn't smile, didn't blink. "I know what you did." That was all. Then he turned, walked toward the elevator, and disappeared. I stood there stunned, my brain spinning. I didn't recognize him. Didn't remember ever doing anything to anyone like that. But his voice, it was steady, controlled, like he meant every word. I was on edge the rest of my shift. When I finally got home, I double-locked the door. Told myself it was just a drunk trying to mess with me, but I couldn't sleep. Around 3:12 a.m., I woke up. Not from a sound, not from a nightmare, from something else, a presence. The room was pitch black. I live alone, but I could feel someone there. I kept my eyes open, letting them adjust. And then, I saw it. A shadow, standing motionless, in the far corner of my room next to the door. It didn't move, but it breathed. I could hear it. Shallow, controlled, angry. I didn't scream. I couldn't. I stayed frozen for what felt like years. Then I counted 1, 2, 3. I launched out of bed, yelling like a maniac. The figure bolted. I chased it, stumbling down the hallway. But by the time I reached the front door, it was wide open. Gone. I didn't dare go outside. Instead, I locked the door, turned every light on in the house, and tried to remember anything that could explain this. Then I remembered the sound, the clatter when he ran. Back in my room, I found it. A knife. One of mine. From the kitchen. Lying on the floor like a dropped thought. I called the police. They searched the house, the yard, even checked my security cam at the door, no trace. I gave them the description of the guy from the bar. They pulled footage, but nothing ever came of it. And here's the part that makes my skin crawl. There was no sign of forced entry. All doors locked. All windows sealed. Alarm still armed. They never figured out how he got in. Neither did I. But sometimes, when I'm closing the bar, wiping down the counter, and I see my reflection in the mirror. I wonder if he's already back, and if this time he won't drop the knife. Story 3. The dinner table with no shadows. Some people show up in a place, leave behind a look, a presence, but no one else ever remembers they were there. I work as a bartender at a small bar restaurant in a suburb near Baltimore. It's a bit of an odd setup, no table service. Customers walk up to the bar to order their food and drinks. Not everyone likes it that way, but the place is always packed. That night, like most weekend nights, the place was buzzing. Dim lights, heavy music vibrating through the old tiled floor beneath me. I was elbow deep making a long line of gin and tonics when 2 elderly people walked in. An old couple, maybe in their 70s, moving slowly. They chose the corner table, the darkest spot in the whole place. At first, I didn't think much of it, but when I glanced back again, I realized they had been sitting there for nearly an hour. No drinks, no food, no conversation. They just sat there, both staring silently at a blank patch of wall next to their table, like they were waiting for something. When I finally got a free moment, I decided to check on them. I walked over, keeping my usual polite smile. Neither of them looked up. So I asked again, louder, "Can I get you anything?" Still, nothing. The woman sat frozen like a wax figure, eyes locked on the cold, blank wall. Then the man turned toward me, slowly, like a tape in slow motion. His eyes, empty, pitch black, and his face pale, drained of all color. He didn't speak. He just shook his head, barely moving, no expression, no blinking. I stepped back. Something felt wrong, like the world had glitched, like I had stumbled into a dream that wasn't mine. I forced myself to keep working, but inside, I couldn't shake the unease. Later, I looked again. Both of them were staring directly at me. No words, no smiles, just watching. I pretended to be busy, avoiding eye contact. My heartbeat went erratic. A chill crawled up my spine. Then I glanced again. The table was empty, gone. No footsteps, no sound of chairs moving, nothing. I exhaled sharply, trying to calm myself. Maybe they just left. After closing, I brought it up with Karen, my longtime coworker. "Hey, did you notice that old couple sitting in the back corner?" She frowned. "What couple?" I described them, every detail, hoping she'd back me up, confirm I wasn't losing it. But she shook her head. She remembered at least 10 customers that night, even described a few of them. But no elderly couple. I forced out a laugh, but inside, I went cold. I walked out to the parking lot. The night air slapped my face like ice, and then I froze. Across the lot, under a distant street lamp, 2 figures, standing still. In the shadows, it was them, just like inside the bar. No movement, no blinking, just watching. I stood there paralyzed, like their gaze pinned me in place. Then instinct kicked in. I ran to my car, slammed the door, locked it, and sped out of that lot like I was escaping a nightmare. I don't know who they were. I don't know why only I could see them. But their eyes, I still remember them. And I can't help but wonder, next time I go back to the bar, will they be waiting at that same table in the farthest corner, where no one else remembers anyone ever sitting? When night falls, the scariest thing isn't always what you see. It's what's quietly watching you from the dark. If you still believe life is just a series of ordinary days, remember, everything can change with a single glance, a hidden AirTag, or a whisper that says, "I know who you are." Thank you for watching. Share this video if you made it through all 3 stories tonight. And don't forget, reality is always scarier than fiction.